Watford. Disgraceful. 57 points up for grabs. 8 at home all season. I mean, it's laughable. Is that 2 home wins all season against Aston Villa and Manchester United? Draws against Newcastle and Brighton. Sorry, not Brighton. Newcastle and Everton. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. This is my match review of Watford FC 1, Leicester City 5. And that has summed up the season very, very nicely. And the summing up to take from it is Watford, you can't polish a turd. This season has just been trash from the very first game to the very last game. And I know what people will say. It was encouraging against Aston Villa 3-2 on the opening day. But even then, we let them back into it from a very comfortable position. And it's just been terrible. It's been like an injured body being dragged through mud. That's what this season has been. It's been dragging out the inevitable and Groundhog Day every single week. It's always Watford conceding 4, 5, 3, 2, losing last minute goals, not getting any points at home, not scoring any goals at home. And then ultimately, then to top it all off, you've got Roy Hodgson, who doesn't even go out to the fans and thank them for the support this season. You've got basically people saying, well, Watford need to get out of this league because they're too much of a yo-yo club. Well, actually, it was working the hire and fire strategy before the last couple of years. So, no, that's not necessarily correct. We aren't necessarily just a yo-yo club. But recently, that's more likely at the minute. But my point I'm saying is this season has just been utter poo. And it's so disappointing because we've not even gone down with a fight. We've gone down with a massive whimper. And I get that today, just like with Everton, it was a second string team, but that's no excuse. You've got to have 11 football players who pull together in the same direction. And right now, that is not the case. They are working for themselves. They're not playing together. They're not playing for the shirt. And that is creating a culture which is very, very difficult on and off the pitch. And Rob Edwards has come in as manager, head of next season in the Championship. He has got a lot of work to do. A lot of work. Because there are some big cracks at that football club right now. And it is manifesting itself into results week in, week out for Watford. And even going 1-0 up today, you just knew Leicester would come back into it because Watford are literally the most habitable hosts you will ever see. We say, go on then, we'll give you all the space in the world to get shots away. Just do what you like, play it around us, toy with us, whatever you want, because we are very, very forgiving. And honestly, we are our own downfall because we play out from the back, we lose possession cheaply, we honestly just carelessly give it away and don't make simple things done and get football players doing what should be done, like playing a football pass and playing a shot. We can't do these simple things, and that's why we're going to get relegated, because we honestly make the easiest things look impossible. And then when we do lose games, there's no reaction from the bench, there's no substitutions that are purposeful. We're taking off a midfielder for, admittedly, one of our players of the season, Hassan Kamara, but we're making negative changes. And then right at the end of the match, no, Hodgson doesn't come out and really thank the fans. And the fans are the only heroes of this season that have had to put through with persisting watching that utter garbage every single week. And that, my friends, is just not good enough. We have let the name of Watford down this season. We have dragged ourselves through the dirt, and ultimately that is why there needs to be a reset. There needs to be a complete rebuild from top to bottom, whether that's the ownership, whether that's the culture of the football club, but most importantly, the squad. Because the squad this season is a group of players that are either not good enough, playing at League 2 level, or playing without any sense of belief or passion. And that is why we are relegated more than anything else. Now, there are multiple points in this season where I thought, yep, we're going to get relegated. But really, it's just so disappointing to not even see any sort of fight. Some teams make up their lack of quality with effort. And even if we're looking like we're relegated and we're going down with a fight and scoring goals, sometimes even just creating chances and defensively looking solid, that's fine. But we are not any of those things because we just genuinely cannot work out. Oh my gosh, there's another red card. Sorry, I'm just watching the Everton-Brentford game. Everton have got 2 players sent off and they're losing against Brentford. Wow. Rondon has been sent off after that red card for Jared Brentwaite. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, Everton might not even be... Oh, it's a two-footed lunge. Anyway, back to the Watford game. The point I'm saying is, what Brentford have shown this season is unity, togetherness, a style. What we have shown is disunity, no style, no togetherness, and ultimately no passion. The only players we can say this season have shown passion for the majority of the campaign is Cucho Hernandez, Hassan Kamara, and João Pedro. Imran Luz has shown flashes. Obviously, he's been our much improved player of the season. Emmanuel Dennis was really good in the first start of the season, but then from January onwards has really gone off the boil. Like, there's just been so many flashes, but no concrete proof that this Watford squad can compete. And I even think compete in the Championship, because you've got to have a little bit of mettle. You've got to have a little bit about you to get results in that Championship campaign, because there are some teams in there, big clubs, that will battle for points, and they won't ever say it's over till it's over. They will score goals late. They will try and grind out results. Well, this Watford side right now has got no backbone. So you can forget about grinding out results and you can start thinking we're going to really slip down the leagues like Sunderland and just never find a way back. I know that's a very pessimistic way of looking at it right now because, look, as I say, we have established ourselves over the last 12 years under the Pozzo ownership. But I'm sorry, the Pozzos, they've worked recently, but now it's beginning to not work. So now there's got to be a realisation that actually, if they try it again, its pattern is that it's not working. It's not going to suddenly now work out of thin air and go back to how it was. It's clearly now flawed. And that, my friends, is why Rob Edwards has got a massive job on his hands. Turning our attention to the match, and then we'll talk about the season in general, really. Oh my gosh, nearly 4-2. Yeah, so let's first of all talk about that first goal. You know what Leicester do? They always concede from a set piece, and it was obviously taken and put out by Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, the former Luton man. Boo! But Watford actually with a bright start for once in a game. I mean, we don't often score the first goal in matches this season, especially at home, but we did just do that. And just like the game against West Ham earlier on in the season, and also just like the game against Burnley early on in the season, we go 1-0 up quite early on. We think, yes, come on, this is it now. We're going to actually win a game when it doesn't matter because, of course, relegation has long been confirmed. So it's a good goal, but it's a poor piece of defending from Leicester City, that's for sure. On the corner kick, of course, quite early on, at about 6th minute of the game, Watford whip it in through the delivery of is it Samuel Callow, I think, that takes it. It's a good delivery. It's headed by Pedro, or at least missed by Pedro, and then Leicester don't really clear it away properly. They have a few times where they can get it away. Tielemans tries to, and Pedro then wins the ball back, takes the shot, and it's a strong one, volleys it into the ground, bouncing, difficult one for Leicester to defend, and it goes towards goal, and then there is Johnny Evans who tries to kind of get in the way of it. It goes off him, but it's accredited as João Pedro's goal, and he has been our star boy, our one shining light this season, along with Cucho Hernandez and Hassan Kamara, and also the early form season of Dennis, because Cucho and Pedro are exactly what we need to take forward into the Championship, because they have got exciting ability. Now, I get they're both not number 9s. We need a right out classic number 9 for the Championship next season. That is something we need to address, but they are both number 10s. They're both tricky flair wingers, and, well, I say wingers, forwards, that can produce something out of nothing and score goals and actually work hard for the team. More than anything else, Cucho Hernandez and João Pedro can hold their heads up high this season. They've actually tried. It's most of the time not come off, hence why they've not scored enough goals for us to really be anywhere near safety. But ultimately, they've given it their all. They've tried to get their foot into the ball. They've gone in for tackles. They've worked opportunities. And Pedro, once again today, was going for it. That's at least something. But you cannot say that for the rest of the Watford squad. So great to see Pedro get on the score sheet. And, you know, it was down our end as well. So it was great to celebrate that. With the Pedro knee slide, he was loving that. And as I say, it was a fortunate goal because, you know, he did hit it well. But ultimately, it did take a nick off Johnny Evans. But it goes down as a goal for João Pedro. It was a good moment. I mean, Leicester from set pieces, though. What was Tielemans doing? What was Dewsbury Hall doing? I mean, Justin tries to get it out and Pedro gets there first. And it's Johnny Evans is in the way of it. He can't deal with it. So you think 1-0. Okay, Watford, finally. It's only taken you too many games and we're relegated for us to realise we can actually show games a bit more positively in our performance. But it doesn't matter because we still lose the game 5-1 from a winning position. Typical, isn't it? So Leicester obviously still a little bit under the cosh, a little bit Watford starting well, as I say. Cabaselli has that header that missed just to the left. But, you know, some good build-up from Watford in the first, 13 minutes or so. And then Pedro has that chance, which is a really good one. And finally, we see some good delivery. And actually, it's not about sometimes the players doing all the work in the box. It's the players on the fullbacks actually putting in inviting balls and letting the attackers then attack it. And that's a fantastic cross from Jeremy Ngakia, who I thought was one of our standout performers in a very, very bad game. He at least is going for it, Ngakia. He's trying to make things happen. And you feel for him because he's not been getting given the game time, but you think, fair enough, Kiko Femini has been better from an attacking point of view. But if Kiko leaves, he's certainly going to be key for us in Ngakia in the Championship. But yeah, really good cross in, inviting, and Pedro just kind of gets in front of the Leicester defender. But talking of Everton, by the way, it has finished 3-2 to Brentford. So Everton are not safe yet. They're not safe yet, but it's a really interesting relegation scrap. It's going to go down to the final day because they would have won. If they'd won Everton, they were actually 2-1 up. But if they'd have won this game, they'd have got safety. So yeah, interesting. But as I was saying, it was a pretty decent piece of play from Watford, and yeah, Pedro just gets in front, gets a foot on it, and it's a good contact, and it's going in. But then it's a diving save from Danny Ward. It's a good save because he kind of has to get down low, and it's kind of dribbling in, and he just kind of swipes it away in time. Really good goalkeeping from Danny Ward, who obviously came in this week for no apparent reason, no reason why. Schmeichel has been playing all season, and he's been amazing at times this season, Schmeichel, but just felt like he needed to rotate things for no reason. Brendan Rodgers and Danny Ward, to be fair, did have a decent game. He obviously did concede, which wasn't ideal, but made a couple of saves that we'll go on to talk about. That was one of them. So then Leicester suddenly, after that save from Pedro, they start to get a bit more into the game, and Watford just so amateurish defending. I mean, honestly, this defending. So I'm just looking at the relegation scrap. Sorry, bear with people. So the table, let me just quickly update you. So as it stands, obviously we know about Watford and Norwich down. 18th Burnley with 34 points, 36 played, minus 18 goal difference. So crucially, Burnley have got a better goal difference than Everton right now. And they have also got, obviously, better fixtures. Oh, sorry, not Burnley. Everton have got better. Well, actually, no, they haven't. They got. Well, I say that they got Palace and then they got Arsenal. So, and Burnley have got on the final day they've got trying to think who it is now. Newcastle. Actually, yeah, I say that they haven't got better fixtures, but no, as well Burnley have got Villa. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. But ultimately, Burnley, they didn't want to lose today and they did, but they only lost 1-0 against Spurs. So, I think Burnley are in decent stead. I mean, they have got a better goal difference, but Everton got 2 points more on 36. But then crucially, Leeds have played a game more. So Leeds have only got one more to go on 35. They've got the worst goal difference of anyone out of those three, minus 38, which, to be fair, after the game against Leicester for Watford today was surpassed by the Hornets with minus 42 now, the goal difference. The only positive, any positive we can get from this season is that we somehow managed to finish above Norwich and not finish bottom. That would be the only thing. But to be honest, I would say across the whole season, Norwich have been the worst team. So it would be fair. But if you look individually inside the games, okay, yes, Norwich have been awful, but they've been kind of expecting to be awful, if that makes sense. And I know we have been awful and we should expect that, but what I'm saying is like the extremity of the performances, not necessarily the results, because obviously we've got more points and fair enough. We've shown more positive flashes this season as though we'd actually got more points, but you know, ultimately we've still got a chance of finishing bottom. So in terms of the performances on their own, they've been so disgusting by Watford that it almost is tempting for us to just say we deserve to go and finish bottom. But it depends how much we concede against Chelsea, I suppose. We'd have to lose like 13-0 if Norwich were to lose in their game against Spurs. But it's not great. I'm not gonna lie, it's not great. But let's see what happens with the rebuild in the summer. So then, Leicester get their goal. Maddison obviously has that shot that was just outside the frame, a bit too high and wide. But from the resultant chance, Leicester get it back. And honestly, what, my friends, is this defending? It is actually laughable. It is actually laughable. Like I can't even believe it. Oh yeah, by the way, I did mention before I get to that Leicester equaliser, Watford very unlucky. Probably could have got a second. I said that chance of Pedro that was saved by Ward, but also Messina from very, very close range. And it's a tough one because it's bouncing, but he does so well to kind of get it on target, and it hits the crossbar. And it's just a frustrating one because, you know, that was a nice little set piece. He just kind of toe pokes it. Ward is going to get beaten. I mean, Vardy's on the line, but, you know, it's going to go too high in the net for Vardy to reach. So really annoying that didn't get in the back of the net. And then we talk back again about that Leicester goal. I mean, it's just embarrassing. Like, it is actually embarrassing. It is League Two defending. So it's just a simple ball. And this was the problem all game, that Leicester weren't doing anything drastic. They were 6 out of 10 for most of it, but we were minus 50 out of 10. And yeah, look, you've got to say fair play. Leicester were clinical today, and that's what Everton weren't on Wednesday when we surrendered a few chances to Everton. We didn't have really any shots on target against Everton, or that many shots, full stop. But ultimately, Leicester were clinical, and you just got to say fair play for that. But oh my gosh, our defending, just so amateurish. You've got a long ball from Leicester, and that basically, a simple ball over the top, was just beating us all game. And that's how bad it's got, that we are that amateurish. So it's a long ball over the top from Leicester defence. I think it's Johnny Evans that plays it. But either way, oh my gosh, the positioning. You've got two Watford players. Is it Vardy? No, it is Vardy. Vardy's looking for it, and you've got the two centre backs, Kabasele and Cathcart. Of course, Cathcart came in for a late substitution after injury to Samir. But oh my gosh, one of you make it your own. Make responsibility of that situation. You've got Messina, who's marking closest to Vardy, and yet he doesn't want to go to it. There's those kind of players that just don't want to take the responsibility. So then you've got three Watford players all looking at the same ball. But then Cathcart is looking at it at the same time as Messina. Surely you've got to say to each other, one of you go for it. So then Vardy's looking at it. He's trying to think, okay, sorry. I say Vardy, it was Tielemans. I apologise. It was Tielemans. So Tielemans is going for it. Okay, now Messina, you've clearly shown you're trying to get that header. So then tell Cathcart, get out of the way. Don't try and intervene. You've got, oh my gosh, it's just, they're tripping each other up, man. It's just shambolic. And then it comes to Tielemans. It's high in the sky. You've got no Watford defenders back, by the way. So we've pushed up way too much on the counter. You've got Kabasele in behind. I mean, how Tielemans doesn't pass to Maddison sooner is beyond me, because Maddison was in acres of space down that right-hand side for Leicester and down Watford's left-hand side. As I say, Messina out of position, ball watching, and you think, well, yeah, there's only one scenario. Tielemans is going to pass here to James Maddison. I mean, it nearly comes to Vardy. He nearly puts it in, but he leaves it to Maddison, and it's an open goal. Kabasele's not even close to blocking it. And it's a good finish from Maddison, but it is honestly disgusting in defending from Watford. I mean, what are we doing? Just so poor. I mean, does Foster need to come out as well? Does he just stand his ground and try and get big and get in the face of Maddison? I don't know. But it is really, really poor defending from Watford as usual. So at 1-1, you think, okay, brilliant. We've done it again. We've conceded after going ahead. let's just try and keep it at 1-1 for as long as we can, get to half-time. But no, we can't even do that, people. We cannot even do that. I mean, this is uncharacteristic because I think at points this season, Edo Kayembe has done pretty well. But, oh my gosh, what is he doing? He's trying to just play it out, but he's just overthinking it, I think. He's just thinking, oh, I can get it out wide and spray it, but he's got no power in the pass. It's easily cut out by Leicester and by James Maddison. And then, you've got 2 Watford defenders marking Vardy. I mean, we've got to have one of them getting that header. I mean, again, it's the thing that we talked about for the Cathcart mistake with Messina. Foster, mate, you've got to make that yours. And if so, Cathcart and Kabasele, get out of the way. What are you doing? Just watching. Like, this was the OG centre-back pairing in the 17-18, 18-19 season for Watford. Cathcart and Kabasele. It's like these never played together. That's how uncharacteristic they look in this Watford side this season. They are absolutely shambolic. Oh my gosh. And Foster, man, you just don't come for that. There's no way on the edge of the box, when you've got 2 defenders from Watford on the edge of the box, marking 1 striker, that then you think, oh yeah, that's easily going to be got by the goalie. By the time that Foster's got there, it's already on Vardy's head, and he's just going to head it. I mean, how many times, Foster, just don't try and do a Superman. Just stay big in your goal. And, it was amateurish. It's a great header. It's a lob header. I mean, we've seen this already this kind of last few years. I think it was against Coventry in the Championship. He was beaten by like a header outside the box, and it's just positioning Foster. Come on. I get Foster has been decent this season. He's made a lot of big saves. He's actually denied a lot more goals than we have conceded. But at the same time, he has made errors, and that was one of them. I mean, really, really poor. And in the space of what feels like seconds, we've gone from winning 1-0. Okay, Leicester's under the cosh a little bit, but only for the first 5 or 10 minutes. To then, in the flash of like 3 minutes, we have now conceded and we're 2-1 down. 18th minute conceded, 22nd minute conceded. Absolutely out blooming rageous. And I thought Dan Gosling today was struggling. He was quite good against Everton, but just not really doing that well in terms of the passing. And he had that shot really that fell to him on the edge of the box. It's got to be getting that on target. So yeah, it was really, really poor. I mean, that chance for Castagna was high and wide, and fortunately for Watford, wasn't punished. But then Watford looking a little bit under the cosh now, and Leicester wrestling back control of the game. That header from Castagna just misses, but again, lucky from Watford that it didn't get punished. And then Pedro has that shot a bit high and wide after some Watford play. I mean, Kalu again. He was pretty bang average, pretty awful against Everton, and he goes missing. I mean, this guy was supposed to be Sarr's replacement. Samuel Kalu has been more on the treatment table than actually showing any signs of footballing ability, and when he has been playing, he has just looked like, honestly, so poor. So then, yeah, it finishes at 2-1, half-time. You're thinking, wow, this team, honestly, they really just fail to disappoint in terms of breaking bad records, and They don't fail to surprise us with how poor it really is. So 2-1 at half-time, shambolic. What are we going to do to change the situation? To bring on Hassan Kamara, who at half-time was given Player of the Season, which I think is the right call because it was between him and Dennis. Now, Dennis has had an attitude problem, and it's not been good to see how he's not really allowing other players to play with him. He's not passed enough. I mean, he has done it at times this season, but he's not done it enough. And also, he's really gone off the boil the second half of the season. After January, he's just not been the same. Whereas Hassan Kamara, for the time he's been at this club, has been a consistent performer. Now, people will say Kamara's made mistakes in defence. Well, so is a whole team. So you can't really argue that. I think Hassan Kamara has been fantastic. And the main thing with Hassan Kamara is his attitude. I don't care if you're really, really poor, but if you make it up with attitude, you will get far. And Hassan Kamara has been a perfect example of that. So he's our number one priority to keep next season, because that kind of attitude is going to be important if we want to grind out some kind of results in the Championship. So, yeah, second half starts. You think, oh, do we really have to? And, oh my gosh, 30 seconds, not even that, probably 20 seconds into the second half, Watford. What was the half-time team talk? Was it, oh yeah, just, leave all the space on the right-hand side and Gaki, just push up, do as much as you like, forget about marking, and forget about any sort of, tracking back. Oh my gosh, Hassan Kamara, brilliant. But, oh my gosh, you got to have the other side covered. Like, what are we doing? I get that we're trying to go for it, but look, there is no excuse. We've had a halftime break. We should be alert. We should be sharp. But no, seconds in, we're asleep. We are asleep. It's like we didn't even know the game kicked off. And Harvey Barnes at the back post. I mean, where is the marking? It is shambolic defending. And Barnes hits it in. I don't even know, to be honest. I don't even know how to put this into words because it is just absolutely outrageous. Then Pedro has a header, high and wide after a Ken Sema cross. And then Pedro has again a chance. And that was, to be fair, quite a good save in the centre of the goal after a nice pass through from Kayembe. But, oh my gosh, it was just getting desperate. Vardy had a chance. And luckily was wide with his shot. Kind of just hit the side netting. And then it happens again, people. I mean, why, oh why? We just conceded another goal and it's like, oh my gosh, just so poor. So poor. I mean, it's amateurish. It really is amateurish. I just don't even know. Like, let's talk it through, shall we? Shall we? The goal for Jamie Vardy is just like, you could see that goal coming from a mile off. Jamie Vardy is given the freedom to just roam through. Oh man, it's disgusting. It really is. I mean, let's talk about that pass from Harvey Barnes. It is a good pass, but oh my gosh, you've got Messina in no man's land. You've got Cathcart marking Vardy, and as soon as that is a mistake from Cathcart, he air kicks it. He doesn't get any of the ball, and oh my gosh, Cathcart turns around and yet still can't even make up the error. And Vardy doesn't know where the ball is. But we're so slow to react that Vardy has a few occasions. Oh, well, I'll just get it back anyway. And I'll just go through and score. And it's just, honestly, so poor. Vardy takes one touch and he goes away, tries to take it round Foster. But then he's near to Foster, right? Foster, he tries to make himself big. But does he make himself big? No, not really. He just falls to the ground. And then it gives Vardy a space to put it either side of the goalie. I mean, it's just, it's so poor. It is just so poor. And you just saw that goal coming. So easy for Leicester to get the goal. He toe punts it in, 4-1. The scoreline has a realistic, ring to it. And as I get to say, again and again, it's another mistake from Watford. Just so poor. And then again, we've done it again, unbelievably. Watford have conceded again. I mean, Harvey Barnes, I say how it was a mistake. Again, Harvey Barnes is just left in space. And, oh my gosh, it was just so poor. It was just so poor, right? You're just dilly-dallying with it, Watford. And I don't know. Don't ask me. What was he doing? Atibo, like, he comes on. You just think, come on. Fresh legs, maybe. No, he loses it to Maddison. Maddison plays it to Barnes. And there's a sliding challenge from Kabatelli. But it is not enough. Barnes, easy side foot, 5 goals, and it's just, I can't even begin to describe this Watford team. Just so shambolic. Barnes has his second, and Atibo, that was the most bad impact substitution you could have possibly wished for. And it ends, Watford 1, Leicester City 5. Shambolic. Just absolutely shambolic. So just looking back at the season, where was the game that we got relegated? Well, for me, it was Watford 0, Leeds United 3. Because it was a positive performance at Anfield. And we knew that Leeds game was a must win. But what did we do? We rolled over. We lost 3-0 at home to a Leeds team that were fighting relegation. I honestly despair. I just despair with this Watford team. And we have to just rebuild next season, reset, completely change the philosophy, the players, the manager, everything. The manager's obviously confirmed, and I feel confident about him. He, in 2 minutes of being on the Vicarage Road pitch before the game, and obviously, giving out some of the awards for pre-match, he is already more connected to me as a Watford fan than Roy Hodgson is. Hodgson, how you think you can lose 5-1 again, and after apologising for not going to the Watford fans after we got relegated and clapping the Palace fans, you come again, you don't even bother to get out of the dugout and say hello to the Watford fans who've just lost 5-1 in their last home game. It's disgusting. It is actually disgusting. The audacity is disgusting. So, yeah, disgusting season, disgusting end. What a surprise. Not. Thanks for watching. I will just quickly touch on, though, my awards of the season. Now, player of the season, I agree, it should be Hassan Kamara. He's just been a breath of fresh air. If only he'd come in sooner. Player of the season is done. So, player ratings from the game today. Ben Foster. He made a good save, to be fair, at the end to deny it from being 6. But honestly, some of the positioning for his goals today, not great. I'm going to give him a very, very poor 4 out of 10. Looking at the rest of the team, though, for the match against Leicester, I mean, it's really hard. I mean, you look at the lineup. Messina, I thought he was quite good today. I thought he didn't put that many things wrong. Obviously, I say that. He did have a few mistakes. But look, every player for this team has made mistakes. And Messina, obviously, was hooked. I don't know. I just think we're taking off a midfielder, Gosling, for a defender. It's just like, it's crazy. I mean, we were playing Messina centre-back. Like, that's just weird. But, yeah, he wasn't great, but I'll give him a 5. I don't know. He was one of the least worst out of the awful bunch. Cathcart today, I'm giving him a 2. He was honestly so poor. Cavaselli, again, not as bad as Cathcart, but pretty bad. We'll say a 4 again. Ngakia, I'd say a 6. I thought he was probably one of our best players today. He tried things. Okay, yes, he made mistakes, as everyone did, but you know, he put in a great cross for that chance for Pedro, and he was unlucky, I thought. And Messina as well, unlucky not to score at the right end. Midfield, Gosling, pretty ineffective, to be honest. As I say, had that shot, he should have got on target. Was giving away the ball quite a few times, and obviously was hooked at half-time. That just shows he didn't really have much of an impact, which is a shame, really. So I can't really rate him that highly, I'm afraid. 3. Kayembe, honestly, really, really poor. And that is not often we've said that for Kayembe. So I've got to say a 2. What's he doing for that 4th goal? It's really, really poor. And then Sissoko, I say 4th goal. I think it might have been 5th, but I can't even remember, to be honest. All the goals have gone in, and it's just all big mistakes, and it's just blurred into one mess. Sissoko, really, he was missing today, and he's our captain, so that just shows. Kalu, did he turn up? Did he actually play, Kalu? I don't remember anything he did in that game, honestly, apart from whipping in the corner for the first goal. But you know, that's not anything special. That's the basics of football. So probably a 3. I don't know. It's really hard to give anyone anything more than 5. Pedro, I'd say a 5.5. I thought he was very, very good today. Obviously got the goal. Actually, maybe that's a bit harsh because Ngakia was 6, but he was one of the best players today. In fact, I'll say man of the match for Pedro because he's been trying every week and has scored a few goals and ultimately not enough. But I think in the Championship, he will be key for us and we need to keep developing him. Sema, honestly, shambolic. So poor. I mean, his passing, his delivery is just not really at it. And he's I don't even know if he's Championship level at this point. I mean, he was all right last season in the Championship. But Kamara, it's hard to rate him with only 45 minutes. But I'll say a 4 still, because ultimately he gives his best. He puts in a few sliding tackles, and you can't really criticise him too much. That's why he's been player of the season. And then a Tebow, 1, because he was poor in the giving away of that last goal. And I mean, you can't really rate him. 81 minutes he came on. Oh, dearie me. I mean, it was a shambles. It really was. I mean, I didn't even recognise the referee today. Like, that was how weird it was. Jared Gillett, I think he's the Australian that managed us when we played Newcastle. And I thought he had a bit of a dodgy game, the referee, to be honest. But that didn't make any difference to the result. Daka came on for Vardy, whatever. Tielemans was booked, and rightly so. But yeah, it was just shambolic from start to finish, really. Once we'd conceded that first goal, it was bad times for Watford. And moving on to what I think, in my opinion, was the game of the season for Watford. I'm going to say it. Watford 4, Manchester United 1. Now, I know that United were a shambles that day, and it's ultimately what got Solskjaer sacked, but we were going for it. We were pushing. We weren't settling for one. We were going for more. And we've never really looked back from that. We've never found that team spirit since then. I mean, team spirit was amazing against Everton as well. 5-2 win, of course. But, Everton was shambolic. And I know United were as well. But, I don't know. I think it was more that United were just undone by some great attacking on that game, rather than the Everton game, which was just diabolical defending from Everton. But ultimately, yeah, that was game of the season for me. In terms of player of the season, as I say, is Hassan. But I think you've got to give a mention to Ben Foster. Now, I know that he's made a lot of mistakes, but he has made a lot of big saves as well. So, just saying that. Goal of the season, it's got to be Cucho Hernandez against Arsenal. Now, against Villa, that Cucho Hernandez goal has got to be up there as well, just because it was like before it all went wrong. And it was a great goal, and bend it like Beckham, it was brilliant. But ultimately, that goal against Arsenal, the overhead kick, such a tough technique and such a great goal. So yeah, got to love it. Cucho Hernandez, he's been a big miss since he got injured. But he wouldn't have kept us up on his own because we were that bad. So yeah, game I thought got relegated was Leeds. And talking about the rest of the awards, Young Player of the Season, easily João Pedro. And Moment of the Season. Now, this is a tough one because there hasn't been many this season. But to be honest, I'm tempted to say that hat-trick for Joshua King. Now, I know that he's had a tough season. I know he's been awful. But that game, he suddenly showed us why we bought him. And unfortunately, he's never come back and played the same way because he's pretty trash. But in that game, it gave us a lot of pride to see Everton, who didn't use him enough in the previous season. Then he, on the stomping ground of his old club, gets 3, and Watford score 5 away from home. That was a great moment for Ranieri. But honestly, it was a stinking season, all season. So there's very little to take from this. I'm happy about the kit next season. So it's basically all next season, basically. Edwards, the new kit, it's all very positive. But I'm really not feeling any sort of positivity about this season. So yeah, I really hope this season is just forgotten about. I know it's been bad for a reason and we have to learn the lessons in that respect. But in terms of the pain I've been through, just go away, See you later, lads and ladies. Thanks for watching.